Leakers have spoken to reporters at Politico and have disclosed the fact that behind the scenes, Trump privately doubted Moore's female accusers, which isn't surprising considering some of the statements that Trump made publicly yesterday. But according to Politico, during animated conversations with senior Republicans and White House aides, the president said he doubted the stories presented by Moore's accusers and questioned why they were emerging now. I just want to quickly address the last part of that, where people can't understand why women are coming. Are they living under a rock? There are women coming forward in various cases that impact various professions. There is this opening of the floodgates where people feel comfortable for the first time to talk about what they've gone through with sexual harassment or sexual assault, in some cases rape. So that's why women are coming out.
Well, look, I want to add something to that.
Yeah.
That is undoubtedly true. There's an extra element here, and both things are at play. Yes, during a political campaign, the other side does what is called Oppo Research. They look at their opposition and they try to find out dirt on them, and then they go and tell the press. And the press, if they can verify it, will then run that opposition research. For example, before the election, no one ran the Oppo Research on Trump, the Russian dossier, because they couldn't verify it. Afterwards, BuzzFeed ran it, and because they thought it was verified enough. Whether you agree with that or disagree with that is a different story. And that Oppo Research was initially started by Republicans in the primary against Trump. So now, in this case, some people think, and look, I don't mind their internal civil war and punching each other in the face, but our job is to be honest with you. I don't think that it was the establishment Republicans, because if they had that Oppo Research, they would have released it during the primary when they were supporting Luther Strange. They don't want to lose that seat in Alabama. Losing a seat in Alabama is disastrous for Mitch McConnell and the establishment Republicans. If they had it, they would have released it in the primaries. In this case, it likely is the Democrats who helped to dig it up, and then it was the job of the journalists to verify it. They cannot run it if they haven't verified it. And yes, it probably helped in that process that we are in a moment in time where women now feel that it is okay for them to come forward and to tell their stories with all the things that have gone on with Ailes and Weinstein and all the others. So that is why it came out now. Right, exactly. So, yes, there is an Oppo Research component to it, but that's to be expected with every candidate who ever runs for any office. Now, I quickly referenced Trump's public statements that he made yesterday. I just want to briefly show you what those statements were, because he thinks that there is potentially someone worse getting elected than a child molester. Take a look.
I can tell you one thing for sure. We don't need a liberal person in there, a Democrat. Jones, I've looked at his record. It's terrible in crime. It's terrible in the border. It's terrible in the military. I can tell you for a fact, we do not need somebody that's going to be bad on crime, bad on borders, bad with the military, bad for the Second Amendment.
Yeah, by the way, Doug Jones prosecuted Klan members, so he was a prosecutor, so he's not bad on crime. Maybe Trump didn't like the people he prosecuted.
Right.
But so either way, though, he's saying, well, look, and I get it. He doesn't want Doug Jones. Doug Jones is not anybody's liberal, but he's not as insane right wing as Roy Moore, and it is not clear which way he would vote on tax cuts. And Roy Moore is a guaranteed vote for tax cuts that would give the Trump family billions of dollars. So he's saying, well, he might be a child molester, but he's going to put money in my pocket. What do I care about? And besides which, what are we talking about here? Trump is a predator, and Trump has 16 women accusing him of ranging from sexual harassment to very significant sexual assault. So of course he's going to defend his fellow predator. Like this was a big mystery which direction Trump was going to come out in?
I wasn't surprised. I mean, the fact that he immediately wanted to comment on anyone else that was accused of sexual assault, but didn't want to comment on Roy Moore until he was absolutely forced to, said something. And by the way, he compares himself to Roy Moore, right? I mean, he also had all those accusations against him, those pesky, pesky accusations of sexual assault and harassment.
And in this Politico magazine article, they reference insiders, White House advisors, saying that Trump could relate to Moore, not just on the sexual harassment stuff, but that the rest of the Republicans at that moment he felt like when the Access Hollywood tape came out, abandoned him. And then he knew who was really on his side. Like, oh, then I know who's in favor of sexual harassment and who isn't. And they abandoned me even though I would commit random sexual assaults on women because I'm powerful. So I hate them forever. So he's like, I don't want to do the same thing to Roy Moore. So I did sexual assault, he did sexual assault. I don't want to abandon him. He needs me now, so I'm going to ride to his defense. That's fine. And if you're in Alabama and you vote for Roy Moore, you are voting for being pro-child molestation. You are. Just raise your hand and admit it. Say, look, I think that him not liking Muslims and whoever else I don't like is more, and him giving tax cuts to the rich is more important to me than the fact that he sexually assaulted a 14-year-old girl, that he tried to rape a 16-year-old girl.
I think he's gonna get elected.
No, Doug Jones, that's what I thought too. Doug Jones now running much tougher ads, calling him basically the child molester that he is. So now there's some chance that he could lose. Look, just like Trump, and a lot of Alabama Republicans love Trump, it's okay, just raise your hand when you go in to the voting booth and say, I am voting for the child molester because I think that's more important. Just be clear about it, that's all. If you like this video, you probably like independent media. The best way to support independent media, become a member of the Young Turks. tytnetwork.com/join.